Oh, here we go again with my prints. You know, just showing all this type of work I used to do. It seemed to be, again, for the shooters, it was all birds and dogs and all orientated around the game shooting. I never had the opportunity for a long time to do anything other than this type of work, you know, a few carvings and things. But over the time, you know, customers saw different engravers, especially like some of the Italians later on, that started to do superb work, putting in motor cars and all these types of things on, and naked ladies and so on and so forth, which never really entered into our sort of world. So here's my development into scrolls here, showing you some of the techniques. I didn't use the Bellino like most of these are used now for all the cloud effects. I had my own technique of doing things with speed again, and it was for wear. Yeah, so these guns were going out into the field where the ghillies used to clean them with sand. You know, after the shoot, they gave them to the ghillie to clean the guns, and they cleaned them. But some of them may have been a little bit rougher, that they weren't museum pieces that were there for, well, even some of the gun makers, some of the guys that worked on the bench didn't know how to take colour off the guns and things. So if they wanted to get a bright finish on it, they used an emery paper, so in this abrasive that took most of the very fine engraving off. It did a few times on mine. And of course the gun makers, you know, they didn't really recognise it. They didn't scrutinise the work like I would, or the connoisseurs of today. And these guns come up at auction sometimes, and I look at them, I think, my God, they've almost worn all the engraving out, all the very fine things out. That's the difference between people that have an artistic temperament, and they look at things and they can see all these various little nuances, whereas others, they just see it as a whole and don't notice a lot of the other things. And so this is what I'm trying to teach an upcoming generation of engravers, some of the old techniques. There's plenty of new ones out now, as I say, the equipment you have and the various other things that were very helpful. If I was to show you the tools I was working with for these, I just looked at some today when I was up in my workroom and discovered them again, and my God, when you look at the size of the engraving tools that the faces that they use today, whereas mine were like little needles in comparison. And that's how I did all this work, you see. But it was my own method. It's all a very fine scroll, English scroll again, which people loved. Very conservative, but is preferred by lots of gun makers around the world too. The Italians took it up, and the Belgiques took it up. There we are, got this birds here. You can see the screw holes again that used to impede a bit. There's another dog and a very fine scroll again. It's the stuff I was brought up on. This is the stuff really that Purleys wanted all the time, just to turn out they didn't really want me to develop into doing the type of work I developed. You know, they tried to put the customers off that. Because they wanted the guns out. They were going bankrupt otherwise. Just have to read the book on Richard Beaumont. Well, there we are. That's this shot.